just got nailed with a tombstone!
No! You gotta be kidding me! Oh my god, no! No, no! A tombstone! A tombstone! Oh, not this way! No! Tombstone!
In every single solo run, when I come up against Blaine, I make a joke about how powerful Tombstoner would be. After all, it is the ultimate finishing move, and no Pokemon can survive a single hit from Tombstoner. I'm absolutely certain of this, which is why I programmed Tombstoner as it should have been into the Gen 1 games, and we are going to play a full game solo run with it. And of course, in order to have a Pokemon using this ultimate move, we need a Pokemon that fits the whole Tombstone theme a little bit. It's time for our Ghosty Mama Marowak. And as we go through this, I'm going to predict in advance that this is going to be the single most broken solo run that I have ever done on this channel. In fact, it might be the first time ever that we get a perfect score on my scoring system. But is Tombstoner actually powerful enough to make it easy to beat the game even with a mid-tier Pokemon? Or will we find that it was not worth the hype? Let's get into it and find out. So as we meet Professor Oak outside of Pallet Town, he's going to encounter a ghost that knows an incredibly rare move. It is time for the Marowak that knows Tombstoner. And our rival's gonna make the biggest mistake of his life pushing us out of the way for this Pokemon, because if he had just waited for his grandpa to give him this Marowak, I guarantee that he could never possibly have lost in the entire game. And of course, we are coming in with the epic Undertaker with a starting moveset of Bone Club, Tail Whip, and of course, Tombstoner. So let's get into the Rival 1 fight and just see how this move goes. Now, the first thing that you'll notice, I'm just going to move Tombstoner into the top slot. And apparently my overlay broke when I did that. Now, of course, we could normally just use Bone Club and get through this fight pretty easily, but let's see the effects of Tombstoner, which is a fighting type move because clearly it was inspired by wrestling, so we need to give it the proper typing. But when we use Tombstoner, we achieve a one-hit KO. And you'll kind of notice that in spite of the fact that Marowak is very slow, we managed to move first and one-hit KO our opponent. And this perfectly fits with the lore, because every time I have seen a Tombstoner performed in real life, it was always by a very slow attacker that somehow catches a much faster opponent and then ends them in a single hit. And with this incredibly powerful move on our moveset, the only real question is, how will we do later in the game when we reach an opponent that can't be affected by a fighting type move? Well, fortunately, that is where our stab ground type moves come in, but we've also got some other shenanigans possibly going on with this one. We're just gonna have to see. For now, we will make our way through Viridian Forest, where nothing can possibly pose a challenge to the Undertaker. We're just going to come in and one-shot here against this Caterpie, and normally Bone Club would be resisted, but here we don't really care. We simply take it down nice and easy. So let's make our way to Brocky Boy and just see how quickly we can completely destroy his team. So first up against Brock, he's got the Geodude that is 4 levels higher. That doesn't matter. Tombstoner will one-shot that Pokemon. Out next comes the Onix. We will use Tombstoner and again achieve a one-hit KO, in spite of the fact that we are significantly slower than this Pokemon. You might be noticing at this point that Tombstoner is very special. Not only is it a one-hit KO move, it is also a priority move. It always moves first. And while Brock really wouldn't be a challenge for a Marowak anyway, we would be using our same type move Bone Club in order to just completely destroy his team. It's still nice to see that Tombstoner is powerful enough to beat him at this point in the game. But funny enough, at this point, we don't even need Tombstoner. We can just one-shot things with Bone Club, so we may as well just use that for now because our Marowak is completely overpowered. You might also notice that we have a very high attack stat over there, and that is because this is no ordinary Marowak. Clearly, this Marowak has been powered up by the powers of Tombstoner, allowing it to effectively have the equivalent of a thick club in Generation 1. And now I have made this as a simple ROM hack, but apparently I messed up the script about Pikachu following me around, so just never mind that Pikachu there. He's just following us around because we've proven to be far too powerful and the game no longer knows what's going on, so we're just gonna have to accept that some glitches might occur. Here, however, we can come into the final fight of Mount Moon against this super nerd. We don't even need to worry about the good old Tombstoner here because we have super effective moves against everything and we're just one-shotting all of these Pokemon with our Bone Club. So we will pick up Lord Dome as we make our way out of Mount Moon, and it's time to fight Jesse and James, where they really should stop obsessing over Pikachu because we have the perfect Pokemon. Now the issue here is that we got wrapped by the second, so there's a solution to that: Tombstoner. It can't outspeed us when we're using the best possible move, and if they try to grapple with us, we're simply going to pile drive them into the ground. However, when we get to coughing, we don't even need to mess with that. Just the Bone Club will get the job done nice and easy, and we have made our way through the Mount Moon section with absolutely no issues. Even Pikachu is super happy to see the fact that we are just completely destroying the game, in spite of the fact that he does not actually exist. He is the new ghost of this version of the game. So we're just going to move on right now. Let's fight against our rival number 2 and just see how he goes with this moveset. Now, typically with our Marowak, we would have needed to get access to a normal type move to even hit this Spearow, but fortunately Tombstoner, being a fighting type move, can easily knock that Pokemon out. Out comes the Sandshrew. We're just going to stick with the Tombstoner here. Let's do a Bone Club on the Rattata because I think it's enough. And here on the Eevee, I'm just going to stick with the Bone Club. It's actually a 2-hit KO here. Doesn't really matter. We were going to win either way. But hey, we'll take the easy victory as our rival starts to realize that maybe he made a massive mistake. But in order to prove just how strong Marowak is with Tombstoner, I think we need to come straight to Misty's gym under level, because a normal Marowak coming in at this level would get completely destroyed by Misty, but here I think we've got a chance. So Misty attempt number 1, I'm just gonna go Tombstoner on the Staryu. Easy 1-hit KO, out comes the Starmie, and once again we Tombstoner it, allowing us to get the incredibly easy victory, and we level up and learn Headbutt. Hey, that's really not too bad. 9 minutes to get through this section. This is not a speed run. I'm sure that we could beat the game in mere seconds if we actually wanted to with this move. In fact, a lot of people were saying that we should just make the move so that when you use it in battle, you automatically teleport to the Hall of Fame. I thought that would be a little too powerful, so instead I went with this setting here. Now, as we go across the Nugget Bridge, we don't even need to use Tombstoner here. All of these Pokemon I think can be destroyed just by Bone Club and Headbutt because we're so incredibly overpowered. This Onix nearly knocked me out just because it kept using Bind, but clearly a single Tombstoner was the solution to that fight. We get the insanely easy victory after we actually use our strongest move. And as we make our way to Billy Boy's house, we're gonna walk in and show him our absolutely insane Marowak, and he's going to run straight into that teleporter to separate from whatever Pokemon he combined with before, because clearly that Pokemon did not know Tombstoner, and he knows. He wants to have this move. So he's gonna butter us up with an SS ticket, asking us to come back later and let him combine with our Pokemon. We'll do that after we complete the Pokemon League. For now, it's time to come fight this innocent bystander who's going to come out with his Machop, not knowing that we have the stronger fighting power. We clearly just destroyed him in a single hit, and the Drowsy never stood a chance. So just like that, we can legitimately get TM28. Now, the big issue with programming TM28 to be Tombstoner is that then in the disassembly, you actually have to go through and change every single Pokemon that learns Dig as a TM move and change that to be Tombstoner. Otherwise, it completely breaks the disassembly when you try to compile it. So this took a massive amount of time just to make it so that I could actually have TM28 be Tombstoner. So I hope you guys enjoy this if I release it publicly. Anyway, we have made it to rival number number 3, where we're just going to tombstoner his Spearow. Nice, easy victory there. Reddita, I think we can even go a Bone Club. Nice. That one goes down in a single hit. We'll just stick with the Bone Club on Sandshrew as well. And now on Eevee, since it is his ace, let's just tombstoner it. Very, very nice. And now we can rub the captain's back. He can teach us to cut. We'll just slap that onto our Charmander. And we're ready to move on to Lieutenant Surge. Oh, and our Marowak is so incredibly powerful. It didn't even take any of this trash from Lieutenant Surge. I got the switches on the first attempt, so we're ready to come and completely destroy him. Let's see how this goes. So Surgy Boy leads off with his Raichu. He's so confident that he's going to outspeed us because he has double our speed. But little did he know, we have the ultimate move, Tombstoner. And just like that, he goes down in a single hit. We have defeated Lieutenant Surge in 16 minutes, 33 seconds. Again, not a speed run, but no TMs, no resets, no optional battles. We are completely crushing. And there's a reason why he's saying whoa right now. He has never seen something like this happen, where a Marowak destroyed his Raichu before he even got the chance to try to get a hit off. Granted, he probably would have just gone Growl or something anyway, so it's not like he was ever going to be a challenge for us. But there is no reason to heal in this. We are completely overpowered at this point. In fact, the only reason that I've been taking damage is because I have not always been using Tombstoner, and because some Pokemon no quick attack. Now, of course, the issue that we have now is that we can't dig, and I didn't get any escape ropes, so we're going to lose a little bit of time here as we backtrack to Cerulean City, but that's really not that big of a deal. We should be able to still make pretty darn good time just due to the fact that we have the most overpowered Pokemon ever. So now it's time to make our way over towards Celadon City, where normally we would have serious issues, I think, with Erica, but here I don't think it's actually going to be that much of a problem, just given the fact that we're going to be so incredibly powerful. So as we make our way into Mount Moon, of course, we're going to see Little Bro here, and we're just going to completely destroy him. In fact, Bone Club is, not enough. I thought it would be a one-hit KO. It was not. And here against this Slowpoke, I'm just going to destroy it with a single Tombstoner. I'm going to try to conserve my PP because we only have 10 PP in Tombstoner, so we can't just use it all the time, but I definitely will use it against all of these random Slowpokes, etc., just to make sure that we actually get the one-hit KOs. And as we make it to the self-destruct hiker, he clearly doesn't know the power of Tombstoner, so we're going to go ahead and just use it on all of his Pokemon to teach him a lesson about trying to self-destruct. It's always bad policy to just KO your own Pokemon, you know? But with that done, we've basically completed this entire section. We should be able to completely destroy the last couple Pokemon, and I think we should just go ahead and go straight to Erica at this point, because what do we actually have to fear? I think nothing, so let's just have some fun completely destroying her. So Erica attempt number 1, we're just gonna lead off with a Tombstoner on the Tangela. It never had a chance. We get to level 28 as the Weeping Bell comes out. It's still faster than us. It does not matter. One hit KO there in order to knock that Pokemon out. And now Gloom, it's just gonna get the Tombstoner. We take Erica down on the first attempt. 22 minutes to get through to there with me rambling and talking. And we've completed 37 battles at this point. We're over halfway through a minimum battles run and no signs of any struggle whatsoever. You better concede defeat because yes, I am remarkably strong. It's kind of nice to see these Kanto gym leaders finally giving me the respect that I deserve. You know, we've been out here in these streets running Gen 1 for 4 years now, starting all the way back when I did my minimum battles series in Pokemon Yellow, and it's very nice to say that I am actually getting close to the point where I could be full-time as a PokeTuber someday. So I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody who supports and watches the channel. And if you want to really support me, just consider joining that channel membership down below. It really helps. And it also allows me to make memes like this. And here we have no more room for items, but I don't think we need to keep any of these TMs. I think we can just throw them all on the ground. Same for this escape rope. Nobody needs an escape rope. And now we can actually pick up the lift key and move on. And this next section is actually going to feel feel pretty good. We're gonna get revenge for Ghosty Mama on Team Rocket. Of course, in the lore, they are the ones who led to Ghosty Mama being a ghost. So it's kind of nice to just come in here and get some revenge for her by using the legendary Tombstoner move. So let's just continue the disrespect here on Giovani and see how he likes when Marowak does to him what Team Rocket did to Marowak. He leads off with his Onyx, of course. I don't even think we need Tombstoner. Bone Club does the job. Out comes the Rhyhorn, more Bone Club right there. And now his Persian gets Tombstonered, and that ends the fight. Nice and easy. He cannot understand what just happened to him, but we know he deserved exactly what he got. And now our rival is going to stand in the way. You'll notice that the rival hangs out around Team Rocket quite a bit. Every time we encounter him is basically when there's about to be a Team Rocket fight, except for Rival 3 and Rival 6. Every other time he's kind of hanging around them. Seems like our rival is falling in with the wrong crowd. Still, we're going to simply one-hit KO all of his Pokemon. Even the Eevee just gets one-shot by a Tombstoner. And now we are ready to move through this section where, of course, this would be the part of the game you could normally actually get a Cubone. You can encounter your first Marowak, but they do not know the powerful Tombstoner that we know, so they might not actually pose any threat to us. So now we need to detail Tombstoner just a little bit more, because you guys have probably already realized that this is a fighting type move that is a one-hit KO move and is also 100% accurate. Plus, it has priority, but it has one more ability that goes beyond every other fighting type move. It can hit ghosts. So here we're going to completely destroy Ghastly. It never stood a chance because, come on, look at all the tombstones here. This is clearly our home turf. And just like that, we can easily progress through this entire section. So let's go see Ghosty Mama ourselves and just see how she goes. So out, of course, comes the Ghosty Mama. We identify her with the Sylph Scope, and there's nothing to do. Just Tombstoner. We don't want her to Tombstoner us, so we got to Tombstoner her. You notice that blank spot in her moveset? That is the Tombstoner hanging out right there. But fortunately, we easily take her down in a single hit, and it's time for Jesse and James, where we have to get the true revenge right here. I'm just going to Tombstone all three of their Pokemon in order to make sure that they learn their lesson to never mess with Ghosty Mama again. And now via level up, we could learn Focus Energy. We will not learn Focus Energy. This Pokemon is far too powerful to need to boost its critical hit chance, even if the move did work properly. In fact, that's something that I should have fixed in this ROM hack, is to actually make it actually give us critical hits. You know, but for now, this is perfectly fine. We're just going to progress in the game with our Ghosty Mama, and I think it's time to just keep stunting on Team Rocket. Let's finish our little revenge tour here before we go and try to take on Koga. In fact, I think we'll take on Sabrina first, because I've heard that Sabrina disrespects fighting type moves, and I think it's time to finally put her in her place. But before all of that, we need to come and mess up Team Rocket permanently and send Giovani scurrying back to whatever hole he came from. We know where he's hiding and we'll go get him later, but first we've got to humiliate him in front of the entire crowd. But before that, we have to take on our rival, who has clearly been hanging around Team Rocket a little bit too much. It's clearly where he got all of his arrogance from, and maybe, you know, bought those black market 10 gym badges that he has. So let's go ahead and disrespect him while we're here as well. He leads off with a Sand Slash, which I will simply go Tombstoner on. That's an easy one-hit KO. Cloyster comes out next, more Tombstoner, easy victory. We actually have to be careful. We only have 2 more Tombstoners, so I'm going to go Bone Club here on the Magneton. That gets the job done. Kadabra, Tombstoner, and of course we've got a Flareon last. Let's see if Bone Club can do the job. He gets a big Ember on us, but then we knock him out in a single hit. So nice, easy victory. So I'm just going to take the opportunity to heal up, and we may as well put our PP ups into Tombstoner. It's the obvious play. The only move we ever actually want to use is Tombstoner because it's just the greatest move ever made, and it's pretty clear why the devs decided not to have this move in the game. Granted, we're just destroying Team Rocket here with Bone Club. We don't even need Tombstoner at this point because we're so incredibly overpowered. That is because we technically have a Thick Club on, kind of. Some people will yell at me in the comments, the Thick Club doesn't double your attack stat, it doubles your stat. I understand that, but you know, it's a close enough approximation. Anyway, let's get into the Giovani fight and see how easily we can completely destroy him. I'm gonna Bone Club on the Nidorino, easy victory. Out comes Persian. This is a Tombstoner spot, easy win there as well. Now I'm gonna go back to the Bone Club for Rhyhorn. We do not get the one-hitter, funny enough, so I'm gonna headbutt it down. That means Nidoqueen's probably not a one-hitter, so let's just Tombstone it, and that will guarantee the victory. We have humiliated Giovani in front of the entire squad, so he's gonna run away and hide and never show his face again. Because, you know, if you got a bully, the easiest way to deal with him is to just humiliate him in front of the entire squad. And that basically completes Marowak's revenge tour until we get to Lorelei, because last time I ran this Pokemon, I'm pretty sure we had a lot of trouble around Lorelei, but I don't think we're gonna have trouble this time. Before all that though, we've got to take on Sabrina. She has visions of us coming to fight her, but she clearly did not foresee the fact that we have Tombstoner. So of course she's going to lead off with her Abra. It is a fast Pokemon and she loves to flash us here, but it doesn't matter. We're not paying any attention to that. Just Tombstoner to take that Pokemon down. Kadabra is going to also try to mess with us, but Tombstoner will do the job. And now on the Alakazam, I just want to kind of disrespect here. I think I'm going to go for the Headbutt just because I can. And we get a Gen 1 miss with Headbutt. Are you kidding me? Well, that's perfectly fine. Let's just Tombstone it, and that will take care of that Pokemon. 34 minutes, 50 seconds to get through here. The only problem with this entire run is that I'm just talking too much and having too much fun making jokes about Tombstoner, so I'm running incredibly slowly. We could probably beat the game in sub 30 minutes, probably like 25 minutes if we were actually playing seriously. That may be a follow-up to this, is how quickly could you beat the game with Tombstoner, but let me just say, it would be pretty darn quick. So now into Koga's gym, we don't even need Tombstoner on these psychic types. Headbutt is strong enough to one-shot them, so we're just gonna preserve a little bit of PP here so that hopefully we don't have to go to the Pokemon Center quite as much, though we do fail to one-shot this Drowsy here, funny enough. We do get a crit there on the Hypno though, so we one-shot that Pokemon, and it is time to take our first attempt at Koga. Now, of course, in a normal run, you would just use Earthquake here. It would be neutrally effective against all these Pokemon, and it's the same power effectively as using Rock Slide, which is less accurate. But in this case, we can simply go Tombstoner. It's going to one-shot the first Venonat, one-shot the second Venonat. Out comes the third Venonat. We're just going to one-shot that as well. And now he's got the Venomoth that he cheated in the anime and like evolved midway through the battle. But we don't care. Level 50 Venomoth gets completely destroyed by a fighting type move nonetheless. So just like that, we have completed the Koga fight and we're ready to move on in the game. And so with all of the other gyms done, it is time to finally come in here and fight against good old Blaney boy. Usually the guy who asks us if Tombstoner is TM28 and we tell him no, but today we actually have to tell him yes. So watch him quiver in fear as we finally bring the move that he has been teasing for 25 years into his gym, where he's gonna wish that he never put that on his quiz. So here against the Ninetales, I'm not sure what I should do. Actually, I am. Let's just use Tombstoner. Easy one-hit KO right there. Rapidash gets completely destroyed. And the Arcanine, oh, we level up and we could learn Thrash. Sure, let's learn Thrash over Tail Whip here just to have another damage-dealing move. And now on the Arcanine, hey, Tombstoner. Easy victory. So just like that, we have completely destroyed this entire section of the game, and we are ready to move on. So that means we have our final match against Giovani, where we can just complete Ghosty Mama's revenge, and then it's time to get her ultimate respect by going up against the Elite Four in the league. So So Giovani attempt number 1, he leads off of course with his Doug trio. Let's just use Tombstoner to one-shot that Pokemon. Persian can get more of the same, and here I think we're still slower than literally everything, but that's perfectly fine. Tombstoner is going to do the job on the 2 Nidos, and finally we've got the Rhydon where we just use 1 Tombstoner. It wanted to one-shot us with Horn Drill, but it never had a chance because Tombstoner is the superior move. So just like that, we have defeated Giovani. We're ready to move on to the league. We're going to have a nice, easy time there, I think. So the real question is just, do we have enough items in order to keep our PP up, in order to get through everything? I think we'll be okay, but let's just see how it actually goes. Here against the rival, Tombstoner one-shots the Sandslash. We one-shot the Execute. Cloyster gets completely destroyed. We still got plenty of PP, so I'm just going to Tombstoner there on the Magneton. Tombstoner on Kadabra. Finally, we've got Flareon. We just Tombstoner it, and that is the easy victory against our rival. Now, I expect that we're going to do pretty well against the league here, provided that I don't mess up and run out of PP in Tombstoner. That is probably the only way that we lose. That or hitting ourselves in confusion a bunch of times after using Thrash. That could definitely be a way to go down. So we're going to have to be very mindful of how we use our moves. But it's kind of hilarious that we haven't even learned Bonemerang yet, and yet we're ready to move on to the league. And of course, in a normal run, you would be even considering using some special moves like Blizzard here, especially when you get to Lance, but I honestly just don't think we need any of that. I think we just go all in with our moves, and why am I even trying to get this rare candy? I don't think we need rare candies in this one. We're running on 0 DVs, we have no vitamins, but Tombstoner is a move that guarantees that none of that will make any difference whatsoever. In fact, the only thing that can slow us down is this mind-numbing puzzle that we have to do inside of the Victory Road, because no matter how strong you are, even Tombstoner doesn't allow you to just skip to the end of this area. Still, we get through that section without too much difficulty. We can now move on to the Victory Road itself. Normally, I would go to the power plant, get another rare candy. We'd probably be slamming them all here with our Marowak because of just how difficult Lorelai's normally going to be. But in this one, I'm not even going to get any full restores. I'm going to go straight in after healing, and let's just get the easy W. So Lorelai leads off with her Dugong. I'm just going to give it a Tombstoner, and that is an easy one-hit KO victory. Cloyster comes out next, the Pokemon with the best defense in the game. Doesn't matter. One-hit KOs will always go straight through that. Same for the Slowbro, even though it resists fighting type moves. Jinx never stood a chance. And finally, we've got the Lapras, her ace, a Pokemon that probably with a single Hydro Pump would one-hit KO us since we're 9 levels lower, but it doesn't matter. We just destroy her in a single hit. So very nice. And no need to heal as we go into Bruno because he's Bruno, so let's just go ahead and beat him nice and easy. So it's time to make Bruno question his life decisions by just going Bone Club here. It's going to be a 2-hit KO, but he rock slides on us. Good job. Let's maybe Headbutt against the Hitmonchan. It decided to go for Thunder Punch against us. Now, the only issue is that he's probably going to use Double Team because he's trash like that. So let's just Tombstoner him before he gets the chance. Same for the Hitmonlee. And just how ridiculous is it that this guy doesn't even know Tombstoner with any of his Pokemon? He's going to come out with this Onix. Let's give it a Bonemerang. Oh, he X-defended, which is actually a good strategy. I'm just going to knock him out after that. And the Machamp doesn't know anything that we really care about. Tombstoner will just end that fight, and we're ready to move on to Agatha. And we should still have enough PP to get through this fight without recovering any, so let's just get straight into it. And Agatha usually tries to scare kids by having a bunch of tombstones inside of her little room here, but little did she know that's only going to power us up even more. This Gengar, which normally would be immune to fighting type moves, not anymore. One-hit KO as we completely destroy it. Golbat will never stand a chance. The Haunter, which I always thought was the scarier looking ghost Pokemon, still is nothing compared to a Tombstoner. Arbok gets completely destroyed as well, and a second Gengar, Tombstone for the win, and Agatha goes down on the first attempt because, I mean, just look at all these tombstones that we left everywhere inside of her room. So now as we come to Lance, this is where we will need to use some elixirs in order to recover our PP. With all of our PP maxed out, we can now tell him, did you see what we just did to Agatha? Are you sure you want to fight us? Come on. Now, of course, he's responding that basically all of his Pokemon are flying types, so he's got nothing to fear from a ground type Pokemon. And normally, I gotta complain about one thing. Bone Meringue should actually be able to hit flying types. That is my opinion, because you throw the bone, guys. Come on. Throw him a bone here, but we're just going to give him the Tombstoner instead. Gyarados goes down in a single hit. Dragonair, more of the same. Second Dragonair, this one wants to use Ice Beam on us, but it's never going to get a chance. Aerodactyl, we're going to put its fossil back into the ground, just like that with a single Tombstoner. And now Dragonite, yet again, it wants to use Blizzard, but we're not going to give it the chance to do so. We destroy it in a single hit. So just like that, we have defeated the Elite Four, and we should be the champion of Kanto, except that some jerk has come in ahead of us, and it's clearly because he's been collaborating with Team Rocket this entire time, and it's time for Ghosty Mama to get her ultimate revenge on the last GSC Pokemon challenges. So he leads off with the Sand Slash. We're just going to give it a nice Tombstone. Easy victory right there. Alakazam gets more of the same. And here's a Pokemon that normally would be really hard to get through. We'd have to go for Blizzard or Fire Blast or something. But in this case, Tombstoner easily destroys the Exeggutor before it can get off any sleep. Magneton is the only one that I think we can use a normal move. Let's just use Bone Meringue to destroy it. Cloyster also would be pretty hard here thanks to its Aurora Beam and Clamp. Clamp is definitely no slouch here, but Tombstoner will end that Pokemon. And now the Flareon, let's just try to beat it legitimately. It's going for the Fire Spin. No, we're taking massive damage. No, we actually lose to the rival because I didn't go Tombstoner. No, the perfect run is over. Okay, so let's actually take this seriously this time. Let's go all in on the Tombstoner here so that we just get the victory. That's what you get when you actually try to play fair here. Instead, we just go Tombstoner, 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 Magneton. We're just gonna stick with Tombstoner this time. Same for Cloyster, and let's do what we should have done last time. Tombstone on the Flareon, and with that, we get the victory as we get to level 53. He says it cannot be after all that work to become the league champ by collaborating with Team Rocket. Yes, your reign is finally over. So we end this run in 54 minutes 30 seconds and a score of 99.9 with one reset due to actually using a move other than Tombstoner. So I hope that is a lesson to all of you watching that whenever you play the game of Pokemon and it's Generation 1, Tombstoner is the only move that you should ever use. In fact, all other moves are trash when compared to Tombstoner. That is clearly the reason why the devs never put this move into the game and why Marowak with Tombstoner would have been the single best Pokemon to ever exist in the Pokemon franchise. And it was at this exact moment that the entire computer just died. Apparently, Tombstoner Marowak was so incredibly powerful that it completely destroyed my system, causing the entire thing to freeze. So we're going to come back and do a second run with this Pokemon because I do not feel good about the fact that, number one, I lost all my progress, and number two, the fact that it took nearly an hour to beat the game with the single most powerful Pokemon ever to exist. So let's see how quickly we can actually beat the game with this Tombstoner Marowak now running as fast as possible. So here in the Rival 1 fight, we'll just put Tombstoner in the top slot and completely destroy the rival. and we're ready to move on now in the game. And one thing that I did that I really didn't need to do was pick up things like rare candies, because when are we ever going to need rare candies when we have Tombstoner? So we're just going to run as quickly as possible while avoiding picking up anything that we possibly can. I'm not a perfect speedrunner by any means. I'm sure there will be some slight routing mistakes, but I still think we can get this one down to a pretty respectable time. So first up, Brocky Boy, he's going to lead off with Geodude. We just go Tombstoner and easily one-shot that Pokemon. Out next is Onyx. Tombstoner one-shots, and we defeat Brock in 2 minutes and 6 seconds. I'm sure that if you were better at routing than me and didn't bump into walls as much as I do, you would probably get this sub 2 minutes to beat Brock. It's really not too bad to get through this section, but hey, for now at least we are running on minimum battles and we have no resets. Easy victory so far. Let's move on to Misty. Now the biggest thing in this section is not getting poisoned and having to go back to the Pokemon Center, so we have to be kind of wise about where to use Tombstoner and where to use our Bone Club, since Bone Club can one-shot opponents, but it's not perfectly accurate. So I will take a heal in Mount Moon just to have enough PP in Bone Club to easily get through all the opponents here, but we're gonna just skip picking up items like rare candies and whatnot because they're completely unnecessary, and our fake Pikachu will just kind of follow us around the overworld as we route through this section. We will pick up the Dome Fossil because it is the superior fossil, and now it's time to take on Jesse and James, which should just be a nice easy one-hit KO fest. I will Tombstoner on the Ekans just because it's faster, same for the Meowth, and then we can try a Bone Club on the final Coughing. We missed the first one, so obviously lost time there, but I'm just doing this to save a little bit of PP as we go through this next section. And with that, I'm going to go straight to Misty since we've got nothing to worry about here. We're going to completely destroy her and the junior trainer. So first up, of course, we get Staryu. We just go Tombstoner and get the one-hit KO. Out next is Starmie. It also gets completely destroyed, and we've beaten Misty in 4 minutes and 48 seconds. So really not too bad to get through this section. Now let's go take on our rival and make our way up to Billy Boy's house. And for this fight, I think just spamming Tombstoner the whole way is the way to go, since we're just wanting to knock out these Pokemon nice and reliably. We pick up Headbutt here, which we can now use as we go across the Nugget Bridge to knock out a bunch of randos, and we should have enough PP to just make our way up to Billy Boy's house without too much issue. So sure enough, we get to the last at the end of this section just fine, no need to go and recover PP, and we can pick up the Ether that's sitting right next to her to help us route. Now our fake Pikachu will come and react to Billy Boy, who just saw the fact that we had one reset against the champion, and he's totally disrespecting us by going into the closet to research a little bit more. He's going to tell us the secret is to just not use the wrong moves. We're going to take that advice as we go through this one so that we beat the game in a faster time and with no resets. With that, we can make our way to rival number 3, where we're just going to spam Tombstoner once again this entire time. We still have 5 PPs, so it's going to be a one-hit KO on all of these, and we'll still have 1 Tombstoner left for Lieutenant Surge's Raichu. So we easily defeat him, of course, because we have the ultimate Pokemon with the ultimate move. We can come rub the captain's back, and it's time to go take on Surgy Boy, where we're once again going to expose him for being complete trash. So Surge attempt number 1, we're just going to go Tombstoner, get the easy victory, and just like that, 10 minutes, 12 seconds, we've gotten through Lieutenant Surge. Again, probably not a perfect result. I'm sure somebody who's better at speedrunning could get this down to be sub 10 minutes, but we're through this gym and able to move on in the game. That brings us to the Rock Tunnel Hiker, where here I think we can just go Bone Club just to preserve some PP in our Tombstoner, and we easily one-shot all of his Pokemon, allowing us to move on in the game. And that brings us to Erica, of course, where we can just go Tombstoner on Tangela. We're going to stick with the same on Weepinbell, and of course, the Gloom gets completely destroyed, and we have defeated Erica in 14 minutes, 49 seconds. Really not too bad. We lost a little bit of time on the trash can puzzle against Lieutenant Surge, and I ran out of PP in a couple spots, so clearly better PP management would have allowed us to get through a little bit faster. I mean, when you manage your PP properly, things go pretty quick, but when you don't manage it properly, sometimes you lose a little bit of time. So now in the Rocket Hideout, we can easily take on Jesse and James. I am going to use Bone Club here again just for the sake of saving some PP and making it easier to progress in the game without healing quite as much. So now against Giovani, Bone Club should do the job on his Onyx. The only problem is that he's faster, but there he goes Rage, so that's perfectly fine. Rhyhorn, we can go with the same Bone Club if it ever actually hits. And now against Persian, since it is faster, we go Tombstoner and easily one-shot that Pokemon. And with the Silp Scope in hand, we can simply make our way back to Lavender, and it's time for rival number 4. Against his Fearow, we go Tombstoner. Out next is the Magnemite. I will go Bone Club here if it can actually hit. Sure enough, we do get the KO. Tombstoner on the Shelder. We'll stick with Tombstoner on the Sandshrew and on the Eevee, easily allowing us to knock out all those Pokemon, and we're ready to move up the tower. We will get a free heal, so we don't need to worry about our PP running out, as long as we can get through this one channeler, and we've kept 2 Tombstoners just for this fight. So I will grab elixirs here just so that we have them for later on in the run, but otherwise we will avoid picking up all the items that we can because we don't really need any of them. And now as we come up against Ghosty Mama, we're just going to use a Tombstoner on her to take her down nice and easy, and it's time for Jesse and James at the top of the tower. Here we just spam Tombstoner the entire way to make sure that we one-shot all of their Pokemon. We get to level 33, we will not learn Focus Energy, and we can save Mr. Fuji from whatever he's been doing up there. He's going to say, clearly I came here to learn Tombstoner from Marowak. Little did he know, we already knew that move. Now I'm going to repeat the same strategy as last time, going into Saffron City and taking on our rival in Silphco. I think this is just the most efficient routing at this point. So rival 5 time, we're going to lead off with a Tombstoner on the Sandslash, easily knocking it out. Same for Cloyster. I will switch to Bone Club right here on the Magneton, because I think it will get a one-hit KO. Sure enough, it does. Back to Tombstoner for the Kadabra, and we're not going to waste time on Flareon, just Tombstoner to one-shot it, and we easily win. So now we've got Jesse and James and Giovani. They shouldn't be too scary here. We should make just really quick work of them. The only question is, should we use up our Tombstoner PP here? I'm just going to use it and use an elixir after this fight in order to regain some PP for Giovani. In fact, we have a max ether to throw into our Tombstoner, so let's just get into this fight and stunt on the Team Rocket leader with Ghosty Mama. We Tombstoner on the Nidorino, more on the Persian. I'm not even going to mess around with Rhyhorn. We didn't one-shot last time, so let's just stick with Tombstoner all the way and destroy the team completely. And with that done, we can now go to Sabrina. Normally she would flash us and we would be talking all about that, but here I don't think we need to really worry. So she leads off with Abra, of course. We go Tombstoner in one shot. Kadabra will get more of the same action, and we're not going to mess around on Alakazam either, easily one-shotting it with a Tombstoner. There's a reason why she was scared of ghosts in the anime. Ghosty Mama, with this powerful Tombstoner move, comes to completely destroy her. Actually turns out that it is a fighting type move, of course, but she didn't know that. So we are able to get through our 5th gym nice and easy, and let's move on. So here I will pick up one more PP up on the cycling road just to have more PP in Tombstoner, because that's going to help a little bit with not having to heal as much in between battles. And with that, let's make our way into Koga's gym. So Koga attempt number 1, we're just going to Tombstoner on the first Venonat, Tombstoner the second Venonat, Tombstoner the third Venonat, and of course Venomoth never stood a chance. The Tombstoner is far too powerful as we get to level 40, and after 25 minutes and 21 seconds, we have defeated 6 gyms. Now I had a slight routing mistake that caused me to have to reset, and I refought Sabrina, but I don't count that as a reset here because it wasn't something that was like an actual battle situation where I reset, so you know, take that for what it is. So we actually lost a little bit of time on the Sabrina fight compared to previously, but we quickly made our way back in order to be able to defeat Koga. I'm only going to count the reset though if it happens in battle, because that's what happened last time with that Flareon. That was clearly my own mistake. Otherwise, I don't think it's fair to count it against this Pokemon. But now it's time to get back into Blaine's gym and tell him that yes, TM28 is Tombstoner, and we're going to show him exactly how the move works, much to his frustration. So Blaine leads off with his Ninetales. We go Tombstoner and one-shot that Pokemon, more Tombstoner on the Rapidash, and we'll just stick with this move on the next Pokemon. I'll learn Thrash over Tail Whip just to have it, but I don't expect to use that move. Here I even misclicked, but there we go. We easily knock out his Arcanine at 28 minutes, 12 seconds. Still no optional battles, no resets. We're completely crushing. Let's make our way to Giovani and then make our way up to the league. So we're going to show Giovani how to actually fight like a ground type trainer by using Tombstoner on the Dugtrio, on the Persian. We're just going to keep it going on the Nidoqueen, on the Nidoking, and of course the Rhydon. If it knew Tombstoner, would just guarantee that it won every single time, but instead it only knows Horn Drill, which is a trash move. So we get the easy victory in 29 minutes and 30 seconds. We're ready to move on to the league, but first we've got to take on our rival, so let's just make sure that we can knock him out nice and easy. The rival leads off with his Sand Slash, of course, but we've got 11 PP in Tombstoner, so we're just going to use that to knock out the first two Pokemon. Cloyster also gets the Disrespect. No reason to change on the Magneton. We're going to heal at the league anyway. Kadabra gets one shot, and finally the Flareon. Tombstoner is enough to guarantee that the rival never even had a chance there. We're going to make it so that the rival never even damages us in this one. So now at the league, let's just get a quick heal on, and it's time to go take on Lorelei and just start our run through this section. So Lorelei attempt number 1, we're just going to go Tombstoner on the Dugong. Let's stick with Tombstoner on Cloyster. More Tombstoner on the Slowbro. Every time you can just say brother after I say Tombstoner. That's the correct way to run this run. And we defeat Lorelei on the first attempt on the Bruno. And here he wishes that we replaced Dig with Tombstoner so that he could use it, but instead we just added it on as a brand new move. So we're just going to use Tombstoner on all of his Pokemon. He clearly was not smart enough to actually learn this move, you know, so we're just going to take advantage of the fact that he doesn't know what he's doing. And with that done, we can move into the Tombstone room and take on Agatha. So she leads off with her Gengar, of course, but we're just going to put it into a Tombstone. Easy one-hit KO there. Same on the Golbat. More Disrespect with Tombstones on the Haunter. Arbok never stood a chance, not even a ghost, come on. And then we destroy the final Gengar, allowing us to beat Agatha nice and easy. And now we actually have to recover some PP before we go into Lance. Fortunately, we have a couple of elixirs in the bag, and that should be all that we need. Let's make our way through this final section. So Lancey Boy leads off with his Gyarados. We go Tombstoner, easy victory. We're going to go for another Tombstoner on the Dragonair. Second Dragonair gets destroyed. Aerodactyl never stood a chance in spite of the fact that it was flying in the sky. Same for Dragonite. They're all weak to Tombstoner, so we easily win. And now he's going to tell us that another guy got here first, so let's beat up the champion. So now it's time for revenge. He rage quit last time, but we destroy his Sandslash. We're going to destroy the Alakazam. Same for the Exeggutor. No chance against Tombstoner. Magneton, we're not going to mess around. Just one-hit KO it. Same for the Cloyster. And now this final Flareon, we get our revenge, destroying him in a single hit. So the rival goes down in 34 minutes and 24 seconds. Do I think we could get this faster? Yes. But the main point is that this time we have actually completed the Tombstoner run properly. There's no need for TMs if you actually start the game with Tombstoner. But if you didn't start the game with Tombstoner, you only need to learn one TM in order to completely crush the game. And just like that, we have completely crushed Kanto with the ultimate Pokemon, Marowak, running Tombstoner in 34 minutes, 24 seconds. Again, I'm playing with animations on. I'm not great at routing, so I'm sure this is sub 30 with anybody who's actually good at running. And it turns out when you beat the game perfectly with a Tombstone Marowak, the rival can't do anything. He can't freeze your PC anymore. He can't make the entire game glitch out. He just can't stop you. He's going to complain, why did I lose? And we know why he lost. It's because he rage quit last time. He claims to never have made any mistakes, but he will announce that we are in fact the champion, and his grandpa's going to come to stunt on him. So yeah, GSC Pokemon challenges. I'm disappointed in you two. Anyway, we have defeated the game. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was just a lot of fun. I know it's like, I do meme runs, but this is the memeiest run I think I've ever done on this channel. But I just want to give you guys a massive, massive thank you for all your support. We are quickly closing in on 15,000 subscribers on the channel. I'm getting significantly closer to my long-term goal of being a full-time Pokemon content creator. So if you'd like to support me, go check out some runs that are actually challenging here on the channel. Like the time I beat the entire game with a single level 5 Pokemon. That's a pretty good one. But outside of that, I just want to say a massive thank you to the channel members and to everybody who watches every single week. You guys are really, really helping me and my family out, and I just have such a blast hanging out here with you. So tell me what else you guys would like to see. We're going to come back with a proper thick Club Marowak next time in Gen 1, just because I did that run in Gen 2 and it was a heck of a lot of fun. So I'm kind of interested to see how that one will go in Gen 1. And we will be continuing our series about movesets as well. Plus, I have a little bit of a plan coming up for a Zubat that's going to be kind of fun, I think, in the near future. So let's just keep running these up and see how it goes. Appreciate you for hanging out, and I will see you in the next one. Later.